Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the regular board meeting of the Vallecitos Water District this August 6, 2025 at 5 p.m. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see everybody. Before we begin, I'd like to announce that members of the public may watch the meeting via live computer or smart device by going to the district's website and clicking on the Watch Live icon. And I've asked our one of our board members, who is, this is her last one, darn it, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director BOYD-HODGSON. Appreciate it. Directors, please indicate your attendance. Roll call. We are all here for now. Do we have any additions to the agenda? And it's good. Thank you for stepping in. We're missing our GM. He's on vacation. I don't know where. You know, can you disclose?
I cannot.
Okay.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
But thank you for stepping in. Appreciate you being here. No additions to the agenda. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda for the regular board meeting August 6, 2025?
So moved.
Moved by Director BOYD-HODGSON.
Second.
Seconded by Director Kirschbaum. Please vote. And waiting on Director Hernandez to say yes or no.
I'm sorry.
There we go. Motion passes. Do we have any public speakers? No public speakers?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on. Do we have any presentations? Do we have a presentation? All right.
We do.
That's what I was wondering.
We have two.
There we go. I'm caught up now. Let's have them.
All right, I'll start the first presentation. And this, as the board knows, we do bring a quarterly update on new hires and employee accomplishments. This is for the period from April 1st to June. We have two new hires. Our first new hire is David Vachon, who's in the audience here. David.
Welcome, David.
David is our IT business analyst too. He hails from Canada and comes to us from the public sector. He has 7 years experience as a process automation consultant. He enjoys swimming in his free time, which we're trying to chip into that, and we welcome David to the team.
Well, welcome. Swimming in the Pacific now.
Just in the pool.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, Canada giveth and taketh away, it sounds like. Well, thank you. Welcome.
Our second hire is Veronica Ramirez, our human resources assistant, and Veronica is only 3 weeks into her job, so not technically within this period that we typically report on, but because she's going to see the board here, or you will see here at these board meetings, we thought it appropriate for you to introduce her at this meeting. So Veronica comes to us from the city of San Marcos, spent 15 years in human resources. She enjoys human resources because it supports employees, which we appreciate. She enjoys spending time with her granddaughter and walking her dogs on the beach, and we welcome Veronica to the team.
Welcome, Veronica. Thank you.
We have 4 employee achievements that I wanted to mention. First is Steven Saavedra, who has been with us almost 14 years now, and he was recently promoted from a pump and motors technician 2 to a senior pump and motors technician. Justin Schutt was hired in 2019, and he was upgraded from a pump and motors technician 1 to a pump and motor technician 2. We also have Trevor Partain, who was hired in 2022, and he was upgraded from a water systems operator 1 to a water systems operator 2. And lastly, but not least, Allison Fisher, who is here in our audience from our engineering department, recently received her advanced water treatment operator grade 3 credential from WWA. So we thank her for her.
Well done.
And that concludes this presentation.
That concludes that presentation. 1.1. Well, congratulations, everyone. Thank you. Good job, Allison. 1.2, Director BOYD-HODGSON's plaque presentation.
Yes, so I will take this item as well. So we do have a presentation in honor of Director BOYD-HODGSON. So I do want to take a moment to recognize and honor her service, her leadership and dedication, her visionary approach that has left a lasting impact on the Vallecitos Water District. Obviously, General Manager Gumpel wanted to be here to give this, so I'm giving it in his place. But certainly these words come from all of us here at the district. So I do want to recognize some of the challenges Director Boyd-HODGSON faced early in her career. As you may recall, she was elected during the height of the COVID pandemic in December 2020, and I think everybody can remember the challenges that we all faced. In fact, our first year of service was entirely remote, so we didn't have in-person meetings. Despite these challenges, she built relationships virtually with all her board members, and that kind of enthusiasm and dedication really is, allowed her to claim a lot of notable accomplishments during her tenure. So I want to point out a few of those. Under the leadership of Director Boyd-HODGSON, the district took bold strides to empower future water leaders. She created a district internship program that expanded opportunities for students to explore careers in the water and sewer industry. This internship program strengthened ties with the Palomar College Water and Wastewater Technology program. She also initiated a scholarship program for high school students and college students, and we appreciate those efforts. She is a forward-thinking change maker, and she has led a number of initiatives here at the district, including the transition to digital board information and technical packets, which streamlines operations and improved accessibility for our customers. Also providing key updates to board and district policies, ensuring our practices stayed aligned with modern governance practices. Also, and along with many of the other board members, was part of the development and approval of the district's 2022 strategic plan, which charts the course for the district and what we're trying to achieve here, our mission. Director Boyd-HODGSON's work reflects the values we strive to uphold: stewardship, collaboration, innovation, community engagement, and her final day on the board will be August 12th. From the General Manager and all of us here at Vallecitos, we do thank you for your service, your vision, your legacy you leave behind here, and we wish you the best on your future endeavors. Now, I know we have a special guest who also wanted to present something too, so I'm going to allow him to speak at the podium.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Gumpel, and good evening, everyone on the board. It's an honor to be here. My name is Tristan Tang, and I'm here on behalf of State Senator Brian Jones's office. And he obviously recognizes the importance of the work that you guys do, the importance of making sure that when it comes to education and accessibility, the water resources for the community. And fun fact, I am not a resident of San Marcos, but I do live in North County. I live in Escondido, so a little bit south of here. And yeah, I'm here to recognize you, Dr. Tiffany Boyd-HODGSON, for obviously the work that you have done. And I won't repeat all of the accomplishments that Mr. Gumpel already shared just now, but let's just say those are very impressive. And on behalf of the Senator, on behalf of our office, we just wanted to say, right, and recognize you, right, for your unyielding dedication to the betterment of the community, and for contributing to the region, for bolstering accessibility and understanding of water resources for the people here, and your continued efforts in education, and as you go on to your future plans. I wish you all the best, and so I wanted to present this certificate to you. So congratulations. Thank you.
Do you want to take it?
Yeah, I'll get that picture. Sure.
This may be the first of a few photo ops, so.
Yeah, we'll do a couple.
Okay. I can have one on my phone as well.
You want me to take it with your phone? You want one?
Yes, or a phone.
Yeah.
A phone.
So
The camera will work.
Oh.
I don't want to be a photo bomber.
You can hold it.
Okay.
This is yours.
What do I got to do to get your camera to come on?
Oh,
It's a lot.
You need the code. It's
Well, I just got to hold it really long,
yeah, sorry, iPhones.
right? Awesome, and we're smiling. Terrific. And I've got
camera.
You know, they made those anymore.
With fake camera.
Oh, wow, let's go.
Well, yeah, I always have a backup plan. I think I want you to both step back a little bit. I think I've learned that the lights straight down are not helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are
Thanks for
most
being here.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Tristan. Thank you for the senators. I think our public information officer would also like to say just a couple of words, and I'm sure the directors may also have some comments as well. And then what I'd like to do is present you with a plaque, very lovely plaque, and maybe we can get everyone down here in front of the dais for a photo.
Great, thank you.
So, do I get it? Yep. Howard? There you go. So Director Boyd-HODGSON, I really decided I wanted to say a few words. I think a lot of the things that, your ideas that you put forward, I was the person that got to implement them, internships and scholarships, lots of ships. And at times, some of that work was hard. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't paraphrase a movie quote. So from A League of Their Own, Jimmy Dugan, or maybe Tom Hanks if that's better, the hard is what makes it great. Director Boyd-HODGSON, it was great. I appreciate the time I got to spend with students and helping them figure out a career. And that is something that we're going to carry forward. It's, you know, you may be moving on, but the scholarships and the internships will continue. And on behalf of staff, but also the interns and the scholars, we all appreciate you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? You'll go last, okay. Jim? Director Hernandez?
Yes. Well, good luck to you. I know you've got a good journey ahead of you, and I hope it serves you well in whatever you decide to do. Thank you for being part of us.
Thank you. Director Elthar?
Yeah, I had a bunch of thank yous, which I think most of them have been mentioned by Jason and Chris, but so the only thank you I'll say is thanks for the friendship. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It's been a pleasure working with you, and most of all, I'll miss your passion and enthusiasm for the issues that are most important to you. It's very inspiring. You're leaving this agency and the community in a better place for your efforts. And best wishes to you and your family.
Thank you. And I will let you go last. So, same, I mean, there's been, you're consistent because all the things that have been said are visionary, your passion, and I said it when you were president, the things that you are, I am not, like, on time and passionate and there. Truly, and like Director, I love it how he said it, thank you for being a friend. You've been a dear friend. We've had some good conferences and things, and even riding a scooter around in Lake Tahoe sometime was kind of. But truly how you are visionary in wanting, like what has been said with the scholarships program, and just like there's a future in water. A lot of people don't know that, and I want to get that word out that yes, there is a future in water, and so please, and you've been very, just a great proponent for that in the educational side, so thank you, wish you the best of luck. I wish you weren't going so far north, but I truly, truly appreciate all you've done for the district and for the community. Much appreciated. And with that, turn the time over to Director Kirschbaum.
Wow, those were some amazing, eloquent words. Our assistant general manager, did you author that, or was that a combo between you and the general manager?
I cannot confirm or deny.
Oh, okay. So it's a little intimidating going last because I echo a lot of the things that have already been said, but I prepared something to say, so I'm going to read it. Director Boyd-HODGSON, thank you for your leadership, always pushing for innovation. I'm going to steal the visionary approach. And most importantly, for the legacy that you leave behind. I want to give particular thanks for your initiative several years ago to start our internship and scholarship programs. These programs give back to our district and our industry in a multitude of ways. We are recruiting the best and brightest for our future workforce, educating the community about what we do, and strengthening our relationships with local schools. Participating in the scholarship committee was the most rewarding experience for me as a new board member, and I have you to thank for that. You lead in thoughtful and impactful ways, and I will sincerely miss your presence on this board. Not only are you a wonderful colleague, you are also a dear friend. Thank you for your encouragement, advice, and guidance when I ran for public office for the first time, and then when I became a new board member. I'm not sure that I would be here without your support and encouragement. Congratulations on this exciting new chapter. While it won't be quite the same without you at the district, I'm sure you'll do amazing things in your new home, and they will be lucky to have you just as we were here in San Marcos and Carlsbad. So best of luck. And we have a gift from all of the directors, just a little token, so yeah.
We also have a wonderful plaque that we'd like to present you. So yeah, if we can get you down in front for a photo.
There sure is a lot of fuss being made.
Do the flowers look, oh gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, okay.
So we can just pull this stuff for you then.
This is so marvelous, thank you. This is very kind.
Director Boyd-HODGSON, I'd like you right underneath the Vallecitos logo. There we go, that's good. And Director HILLSIDE, just in a touch.
Right. Holding the bouquet.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah.
Important chocolate, which thank you to her.
Yes. I have vegan chocolate.
Okay,
And I'll put this up here
wow,
for you.
okay.
You have lots of goodies.
Thank you all.
And then I was thinking, are you gonna be able to enjoy the flowers, or are you leaving like
I'll
tomorrow?
enjoy them
Oh, okay.
this week. Wow, can I just say a couple of words?
Of course, well, now we're going to move on to consent items.
I know we've taken up so much time already. Thank you all. This was really terrific and special. I'm very grateful. And, you know, one of the things that I've tried to do since I've been here that's been discussed is to build the people pipeline, because I recognize that, you know, what this is, this organization, it's the people. And, you know, a lot of staff maybe don't know this, but, you know, anytime there were negotiations about salaries or anything like that, I was behind the scenes championing you all. Give them more. Make it worth their while. Incentivize them. And I think that's really important, because if you don't have the people, then you don't have the water working and the wastewater being collected. So I will just leave you with, you know, continue making this place great and affecting a culture that's inclusive, that attracts the best and the brightest people, and keep people here. That's what I would say. So thank you. This is really kind, and I'm sad to leave. It's bittersweet, but I appreciate all this fuss. It's really a lot. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, well, you deserve all the fuss, so thank you, much appreciated. And because we have an agenda that we need to follow, we are moving on to consent items. Anybody want to pull anything, or may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a first and a second, please vote. Motion passes, thank you so much. Moving on to, what are we moving on to? Agenda item 3.1, water quality relative to public health goals, setting public hearing for report on district. And this is, turn the time over to not General Manager Gumpel, but Assistant General Manager Hubbard.
You are correct. Thank you, President PENNOCK. Yes, this item will be presented by Director of Operations, Eric Bennett.
All right.
I think
Take
he's
it
got
away.
a
Eric. Thank you.
presentation. I'm not very good at stalling, so.
Yeah, sorry about that, getting used to the new system. For my part, I don't have a presentation, so I'm going to be speaking off of the board memo. So today I'd like to discuss the California Public Health Goals, or PHG report that has been prepared and can be found in your board packet on pages 20 through 1022. For reference, only the first 9 pages are the actual report, so the rest are just references. At the end of my time here, I will recommend that the Board of Directors approve setting a public hearing for October 1st of 2025. And during that public hearing, the full report will be presented, comments addressed from the public, questions answered, and then hopefully approval from Board of Directors and the report will be filed. So what is a Public Health Goal Report, or PHG? Public health goals are non-enforceable and aspirational goals set by the California Environmental Protection Agency's Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, or the OEHHA, because we all love a good acronym. These goals are intended to protect public health, help set possible future maximum contaminant level goals or standards for drinking water, and identify the best available technology and costs to meet these goals. And if the OEHHA has not established a public health goal, we are required to use the maximum contaminant level goal, which is basically the equivalent, but it's just the US EPA's version of it. So why the report? The California Health and Safety Code, section 116470, mandates that utilities with more than 10,000 service connections create a special report every 3 years if their water quality constituents have surpassed the public health goals. This report focuses on drinking water quality and must address only those constituents that have, 1, a California primary drinking water standard, and 2, which a PHG or MCLG has been established. And I would like to state that just because a constituent is listed in the public health goal report does not mean that the water does not meet all regulatory or safety standards, because it does. Our water meets all regulatory safety standards, and we take great pride in the fact that we deliver the safest and highest quality water to our customers. As mentioned earlier, the PHGs, they're non-enforceable and, as the name says, goals that we should try to strive to meet. So why a public hearing? Well, the law requires that a public hearing be held to accept and respond to public comments, and that the report must be made available to the public at least 15 days before its initial acceptance. So now that I've briefly covered what PHGs are and why a public hearing is required for the report, I will recommend that the Board of Directors approve setting a public hearing on October 1st of 2025. At that time, I will give the full report and presentation of the report's contents, answer questions from the public, and hopefully with approval, the report will be filed. And take any questions you may have.
Thank you.
I just want to echo Director of Operations Bennett's comments that yes, these are aspirational goals, and yes, the district's water does meet all state and federal safety requirements. So I think that's important to note here.
Gotcha. Thank you. Never a doubt. Thank you. So I understand there is no motion. There's just a public hearing. Do we have to recommend that?
So I just had a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, and before, just so I know if we have to make a motion for question. Is there still a motion that needs to be made? Do you know?
There is the board could by consensus just agree that October 1st would be the meeting, but if you want to do that by motion, that's fine as well.
Okay, either way, I just want to make sure we didn't have to, but yeah, questions? Thank you.
So my question is, how long has this health and safety code been law? And have we had a public hearing like this before, or is this the first time that we've done it?
Oh, though it's been mandated since the 1996 Safe Water Drinking Act. Yeah, so we've been doing them since then every 3 years. And obviously the public health goals, like I said, the OEHHA sets the standards for the levels of contaminants or constituents in our water. And those are updated on a routine basis. And that's what all the references that you see at the back of that report. So the last time this was done was 2022 by our old operations manager at Pedrazi.
Thank you.
I have a comment. You know, I think you've gone out of your way to say a couple of times that the water meets all of the required standards. And I think that it's really important that as we go forward with this, that there's, kind of an education campaign that bringing this forward doesn't mean that we are having an issue. So I would just like to put that out there. Maybe Chris and his team I'm giving Chris more work. He's not here to defend himself. Maybe Chris and his team can think about maybe seeding with some information to let the public know that we're not doing this because there is a concern. It's required by law. And yes, the water meets all of the levels and that it's supposed to meet.
Correct, and that will also be part of my presentation on October 1st. We're going to go through each constituent, its levels, what the public health goal levels are, best available technology to possibly treat those, and any counter effects with other constituents in the water.
Thank you. Any other comments? Just one question. Is there an outside agency coming in to do the testing, or is it we do our own testing and then send them the results?
This is a combination of tests that we have done, Livenheim, since we purchased water from them, the San Diego County Water Authority, and also Metropolitan Water District. We gather all of their sample reports, and this kind of goes along with the consumer confidence report that was put forward in June. And a lot of that same information gets used in here.
Gotcha. So it's not like an outside state agency coming in and drinking water and doing test tubes and stuff like that. Gotcha. Interesting. Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Oh, I just had a question if we had any comments from the public on our water quality report that we published in June.
Not to my knowledge.
Or questions. Okay, all right, thank you.
So again, I don't think there's a motion, just a consensus on holding a public hearing on October 1st?
Yes.
Five ayes? Yes. No nays? Good to go. All right.
Good.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Moving on to 3.2, Development Services Update Fiscal Year 24-25 for informational purposes only.
Yes, this is for information only. This is typically brought to the Engineering and Equipment Committee meeting twice a year. And General Manager Gumpel wanted to bring it to the full board just to continue that transparency. And Director of Engineering Lopez will give a presentation.
Thank you.
Good evening, President PENNOCK and members of the board. The item before you this evening is the Development Services Update for fiscal year 2024 and 2025.
Those are small numbers.
Yes, we'll zoom in. As Assistant General Manager Hubbard mentioned, this map and item is presented twice a year to Engineering Equipment Committee. But if you haven't seen it before I zoom in to focus on some of the details, I want to provide context of what this map is showing us. So this map shows all of the development projects being processed through the Development Services Group here at the district. There's 87 in total currently. And projects that are shown on the map in blue are projects in the planning phase. That's the first phase of development process. And that is when developers are seeking entitlements through the city. Projects in pink, shown in pink on the map, are projects that we're currently staff is plan checking. And the projects shown in green are projects in construction that our inspection staff is inspecting. So as I zoom in so we can look at details more clearly. This is showing all of the projects in the planning phase. And it outlines the project name, size, the project type, how many dwelling units there are if it's a proposed residential development. And then it shows the number of water and sewer EDUs. An EDU is a unit of measurement. It's an equivalent dwelling unit. One EDU is equivalent to a single-family home water connection or a single-family home sewer connection. And EDUs is how we establish and calculate capital facility fees that we charge developers when they connect to our system for water or sewer service. So at the bottom of this table, you'll see the estimated capital facility fees for projects in planning. For water is $45.6 million, and for sewer is $84.5 million. Now, it's really important to understand that all projects that come through the planning phase, they don't always move forward to plan check and construction. meaning we won't collect all of these fees. But the projects that do move forward through plan check, construction, and pay capital facility fees, the time frame for collecting those fees is probably 5 or more years. So it's a ways out. Taking a look at projects in plan check. You'll notice some of the values for water, sewer, EDUs is 0. That means those projects have already paid their capital facility fees, or we simply don't serve that particular project. We won't serve it water or sewer. But here, estimated or fees for water, for capital facility fees, are $10 million for water and $20.1 million for sewer. And these fees, capital facility fees we collect from developers, they partially fund our capital improvement program. So we'll talk about that actually on the next item because it's part of the funding for that program. And the time frame for collecting fees and plan check is probably around 2 to 3 years, depending on how long it takes to finish plan check and construction. Not all projects move forward from plan check to construction, but I would say most of them do, and most of these fees will be paid to the district. Moving on to projects and construction. It is pretty uncommon for projects to get to construction and not finish. So the capital facility fees shown on the table for projects and construction will most likely be collected by the district in the next 2 years or less. And remaining fees to be collected are $6 million for water and $14.5 million for sewer. So for just an overall summary of what was actually installed and completed by development projects in fiscal year 24-25, there was 1 new mile of water pipeline installed and accepted by the board, about 1 mile of sewer pipeline installed and accepted by the board, 71 new water meters, 53 new sewer connections, and the district collected $4.9 million in water capital facility fees and $9.3 million in sewer capital facility fees for that fiscal year. So that's funding our capital improvement program as we speak. So what does that mean for us? Well, what that tells me, we have a lot of growth happening. We're a growth district, and we're adding a lot of new pipelines and meters and things for Eric's department and our meters department to maintain. So I actually commend them for taking on maintenance of all of these new assets that we're building and accepting every year. And as you might recall through budget meetings earlier this spring, our finance department has mentioned that Vallecitos has the lowest number of employees per 1,000 service connections and some of the lowest water rates in the region. And we're growing. So I commend them for taking on more work. So that's the conclusion of that, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I really enjoy seeing this, kind of just that one pager. Fed, any questions, comments? None? Is the 87, is that typical running?
Yeah.
Is that a high end? Is that, I mean, over the last, like, say, 5 years?
I'd say I've been here 4 years, that's pretty typical. I would say how many projects we have in planning, plan check, or construction is what fluctuates a lot. But yeah, no, it's a pretty common amount in the 4 years I've been here.
Really? Thank you. No, I love it. Good information.
I just have a comment.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. This is really helpful. I'm not sure that we've seen it presented this way before, and I think it's really helpful to get such, kind of a bird's eye view and understand where all of this growth is coming from and where it is in the phasing. So I really like to just commend you and your team for putting this together. It's really helpful. And it really does bring home the point that we operate very efficiently. And there's a lot of growth that's about to be happening. So I think that also gives everyone kind of sort of a heads up that we're going to be really busy for a long time, or at least y'all are. But y'all are.
Come back and see. Thank you. And since you're on a roll, I think moving on to 3.3, is that okay?
Yeah, we were calling this the Elizabeth Lopez Show.
All right.
She has several items here.
It's a pretty good show.
And I agree. Yeah, so the next item is Capital Improvement Program Annual Report, and quarterly reports are provided to the Engineering and Equipment Committee throughout the year, and this is an end-of-the-year summary of last fiscal year.
Perfect. Thank you, Assistant General Manager Hubbard.
Not yet.
Good evening. This is the Capital Improvement Program Annual Report for fiscal year 24-25, focused on the Capital Facilities Department. And with me, I have the Capital Facilities Engineer, Marissa Padilla. She's here to help answer any questions you might have.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here.
So what we have through this presentation, we're initially going to take a look at the district's total CIP budget for fiscal year 24-25. And after taking a look at that, we're going to focus on just the capital improvement program for the Capital Facilities Department, which is part of engineering. We'll look at the 5-year CIP budget, design and construction spending, fiscal year 24-25 budget versus spending, change orders, and projects completed in that fiscal year. This graphic shows the district's total CIP budget of almost $41 million. 56% of that belongs to the Capital Facilities Department for a total of $22.7 million. So we're going to focus on that $22.7 million that you see here on this graph. As shown here, this is a 5-year CIP budget for Capital Facilities Department with the $22.27 million shown here in red. As you'll see in the following fiscal year, which is the current one, we are projecting spending and budget to increase, and thereafter for the following fiscal years, 3 fiscal years, for the budget and spending to decline. And that's primarily because we have several large projects in construction right now, and as you might know, construction costs more money than design. Funding for this is comprised of the capital facility fees we collect through development. So in my last item, we went through some of those fees that we've collected and will be collecting, and that's helping to fund this program, as well as replacement funds, which comes from ratepayers. So this graphic is showing the design spending for fiscal year 24-25. There was $1.7 million spent on just projects and design. It also kind of takes a look back at the previous 4 fiscal years, and what's helpful to show about that is that you can see we highlighted a few of the larger and more expensive projects that our team has been working on. For example, one of them is there's projects at the Meadowlark Reclamation Facility, MRF for short. We have the CCT expansion and sodium hypochlorite conversion projects, and that's shown here in purple. Design finished in fiscal year 24-25, and actually construction started that year as well. But what this shows you is that it takes many years to work on a project. And there's a lot of collaboration with other departments, and it's just a long time frame that spans multiple fiscal years for design and construction occasionally as well.
So would it be rude to interrupt you?
No.
So are these all in-house fees, or do these also include outside services?
Outside services as well.
Okay, thank you.
Also on this, in blue for spending in fiscal year 24-25, in this light blue is the Twin Oaks Valley Road Sewer Project. We wanted to highlight that one because, as you might recall, in June of 2024, the board approved an increase to the sewer capital facility fees to fund this project, because we have an 8-inch trunk main in Twin Oaks Valley Road that was at capacity, and we want to be able to take on more future connections with development. So the board increased a cap fee increase, and we already started design in fiscal year 24-25, and that will continue through the following 2 fiscal years. The land outfall parallel sewer section A project, that's a tongue twister, is in yellow, and that's another large project for the district that's going to span several years in design. So moving on to construction spending. With fiscal year 24-25 highlighted in the red box, we spent $16.4 million on projects in construction. One of them being the MRF projects. With a picture here, this top photo is the CCT, or chlorine contact tank expansion project, and the sodium hypochlorite conversion project below. And that project spending is shown here in purple. We also have the Montiel Lift Station project shown on this graph in green. That project started construction last fiscal year and will continue through the current fiscal year, as well as Tres Amigos, which is the project in dark blue, as well as the Failsafe Rehabilitation Buena Reach project shown here in peach. That finished in fiscal year 24-25. So while we talk a lot about spending, we did design spending, construction spending, we also want to highlight some grant money and reimbursements that we've received. We have one state and one federal grant for our CCT expansion projects where we've received $1 million so far, and we anticipate receiving up to $3.5 million for that grant. And for the Failsafe Buena Reach project shown here in peach, Buena Sanitation District is part owner of that facility, and they reimbursed the district $4.2 million for that project. So the projections here show the whole total project spending. It does not include what we received in grant money or reimbursement from Buena. So when we look at what we budgeted and what was actually spent, we actually spent $18.1 million total between design and construction versus the $22.7 million budgeted. That's an 80% utilization rate. And the spending gap in that versus spent versus budgeted versus actual is primarily due to delayed construction starts for those larger projects we looked at, particularly like the Montiel Lift Station project. There's long lead times to procure materials for the lift stations, so construction started later than anticipated, so we just spent less money than we originally forecasted that year. Taking a look at change orders. For fiscal year 24-25, we had $41.6 million worth of construction contracts. We had a total of 23 change orders and a little bit over $600,000 worth for a change order rate of 1.5%. Industry standard is about 15%. So if we were on par with industry, we could have spent on the order of $6.2 million in change orders. So I commend our staff for that, keeping the change order rates low. We can contribute to that to spending time and bidding projects that have thorough design. We're reviewing change orders, making sure they're necessary, negotiating the prices, and we are actively managing our construction projects.
Good job.
So projects completed for that fiscal year, there were 5 of them, totaling $14.5 million. There were 1 mile of 16-inch HDPE pipe installed, 2.2 miles of CIPP rehab liner, 2 tank rehabilitations, 21 new manholes, and 120 feet of 10-inch Primus liner, which was a pilot project that we did to rehab a water line, and it was the first of a kind for us, and it was successful. So
Is that the one over at Las Posas?
Yeah.
Nice.
So all of these improvements correlate with our strategic focus area number 1, infrastructure integrity by maintaining critical infrastructure. So in summary, we highlighted the Capital Facilities Department budget, spending, efficient utilization, and low change order percentage, and our strong track record of successful projects. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
I don't know if there's any questions, but good job. But yes, I'm sure we do have some questions.
Yeah,
Yes.
You know, maybe it's because we think the same as far as how we like to receive information, but I also found this report really, really informative. Just, you know, as board members, you know, we are not in the weeds, but, you know, we hear these names over and over again, Tres Amigos and Montiel, and so, you know, when I think about, you know, what are the big capital projects that we've worked on, it's all right here, and I really just appreciated the consolidated nature of that, so we could see, you know, where, you know, what we've been working on and where the money's going, and it's really helpful for the public too. So thank you, and congratulations to your team. That 1.5% is phenomenal.
Thank you. Team effort on the presentation, by the way.
Well, I think you guys are the A-team, isn't it? You've been referred to as the A-team?
They are the A-team.
I know. The dream team, A-team, one of those. Yes, Director Hernandez.
Yes, very nice presentation. It really is, because I had some questions prior to even seeing the presentation. You answered one of them already. But I'm told that both San Marcos and Montiel, the sewer lines there, are at capacity. I see we're working on Twin Oaks, but I didn't see anything relative to San Marcos Boulevard or Montiel other than on Montiel we're doing the lift station. What do we have in the future for both San Marcos and Montiel, the sewer lines there?
Do you
Yeah,
know?
so the lines downstream of the Montiel lift station. So we do have a project. It is identified in our master plan. It is scheduled per the master plan, and so it doesn't show up in the budget, but once it gets sort of closer to that queue per the master plan, and we've identified that there is development in that area that's expected, so we do have it in the queue.
And what is the timeline for the Montiel?
The line downstream of Montiel, it's looking like, I want to say it's 5 to 7 years. And that's only because, and I know that sounds like a long time, but as you know, these projects are multi-year. And we're sort of constrained by our reserves, right? How much money can we really spend? And as Director of Operations Lopez showed, we're spending a lot of money right now on some major projects. So we need to really recover from that. And so that's why it's going to take us some time to get to those.
And San Marcos Boulevard?
Yeah, San Marcos Boulevard, that's an interesting, it's also been on the books for a while. It is identified in our master plan, and I want to say that's probably in the same time frame, the 5 to 7 years. Yeah, and in fact, I know there's some, and I don't know if you, well, that great map that Elizabeth showed on development, but I know Lennar is doing some conversions of Restaurant Row.
Right.
And so they're actually draining away from San Marcos Boulevard. And I would say our engineering staff, in the water sewer study process, as you know, we look at where those sewer flows can go. And we've done a lot of work on our interceptor, upgrades to our interceptor. So a lot of those flows have been moving away from San Marcos Boulevard. We've redirected them to pipes that have capacity. And so that's sort of pushed that project farther out because there's less of a need, but it will come.
I know the city is looking at the Creek District again. And if I remember correctly, we have a transmission line parallel with San Marcos Boulevard. What are the development going to direct their sewer for their projects along San Marcos Boulevard if the line in San Marcos is already at capacity?
Yeah, they'll be directing them southerly, closer to the creek, because we do have that large easement.
Right.
We do have that sewer interceptor. I think it's 42 inch.
Yeah.
So it has, and when we put that in, and this is going back a couple years, we did the last phase.
Yes.
It accounted for that for that development coming. But I do know the city's revisiting their creek district, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of it. But I want to say it may be lessening, right? The IKEAs of the world of San Marcos aren't coming in, right? So I think they're paring a lot of their expectations back, if I recall. And that process, I think, is going to take maybe 2 years. I'm looking at Rick just because he intimately knows. So I think that's a 2-year process.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you for a great presentation, for the team effort on all.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Much appreciated. Moving on to one of these possible capital improvement needs would be this Hillside property sale lease project, 3.4.
Yep, 3.4. Thank you, President PENNOCK. So this item is to discuss the Hillside property. Specifically, we're looking for authorization from the board to solicit purchase offers through an RFP process. So Director of Engineering Lopez does have a presentation. Like I said, it's her show tonight as far as action items.
Wow.
And she's got that queued up, and it's going to provide more information. We've also asked Mr. Rick Giddings to be available. He's here in the gallery in case Elizabeth and I have assistance. We may call him to the podium, but hopefully we can answer all the questions you have.
He can answer all the hard questions, huh?
Well, we'll try to do it ourselves. It's good to have a backup. So. Elizabeth, you're ready? We'll get started.
Perfect.
Thank you again.
So before I jump into it, I wanted to mention that there's the correction I wanted to state for the memo and the discussion portion of the memo for this item. We mentioned a ad hoc committee meeting on June 10th, 2024. It was actually 2025. So apologies for that. Just wanted to clarify that in case that was adding any confusion for you. So a brief agenda for what we plan on discussing this evening is a background on the property, Surplus Land Act disposition, ad hoc committee discussion topics, and ad hoc committee recommendation and staff recommendation. The presentation this evening is focused on a high level, primarily on sale or lease of this property. For background, Vallecitos determined approximately 33 acres of our district headquarters right next to our administrative and O&M building was surplus land. Local public agencies were approached per the Surplus Land Act process, but nothing developed. 2016, district staff hired an engineering firm to create a site plan. The property was appraised in 2017, and biological and geotechnical studies were performed in 2019 through 2022. That was when we and Mr. Giddings started reaching out to development partners. And in 2023 and 4, Vallecitos staff performed water and sewer study for the property. And the property, just to be clear, is the area shown here, noted as hillside and hatched in blue. It's right next to our district administrative and O&M building, and the district's property line currently as a whole is the black boundary. For the Surplus Land Act disposition, due to changes in law, District Board issued a new resolution in April 2024 designating the property as surplus land, so that action was completed. It entailed a 60-day notification period. Only one company responded, which triggered a 90-day notification period. The interested party was not responsive during that 90-day period, but it extended time and coordination with the Housing and Community Development, or HCD. That was concluded in February 2025 that Vallecitos met the requirement under the Surplus Land Act, and further coordination with HCC will be required if the district does sell or entitle the property. And that was discussed in more detail at the ad hoc meeting in June, and Assistant General Manager Hubbard will discuss in further detail.
Yeah, and that was June of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, so that committee meeting, very robust discussions, lengthy discussions, really went through all the pros and cons of the option for what we wanted to do with that property, what was going to be the best benefit for the district. And I think it's important to let the board know that the goal, and I commend the committee for really sticking to this, was to look at an option that created a perpetual source of income, non-rate revenue that could be used for the benefit of the ratepayers. And that's what you see in the recommendation here tonight to move forward. So a few highlights on some of the topics that were discussed in those meetings. And again, along with Director of Engineering Lopez's theme, I'm going to keep it high level, but we can certainly go into details as you wish. But one of the topics we discussed was funding. And this is in case we cannot find a suitable buyer for the project, and we do need to spend district funds, time and effort. How are we going to do that? And what we would do is basically we would give ourselves a loan, what we call an inter-fund loan. And there's a lot of discussion that we can have about that, but we're really not there at this point. But I want to mention that that's something that we talked about. The other item we talked about was, again, if we can't find a suitable buyer with this recommendation, would we want to entitle the property ourselves, or would we want to hire a development partner to assist us? Again, a lot of pros and cons to these approaches. Ultimately, the committee recommended that if we could not find a suitable buyer, that we would look at entitling the property ourselves. And that would be the next course of action, and that's the item number 2 in the recommendation you have before you in the board packet. We also talked about schedule. If we were to entitle the property, should we wait for the city to complete their general plan amendment, which could take 3 years or more? Or do we want to not wait and pursue a specific plan amendment, really control our own timeline? Again, lots of pros and cons to these approaches, and I think the committee was really looking at risk versus return on a lot of these options. And the recommendation from the committee was not to wait. Again, if we end up going down that route, would be not to wait for the city and to pursue that on our own. The other topic we discussed, I have to remember, I'm controlling the slides now, is the lease or sell. And I think for many years we've been, the board has been looking at the lease option. Again, remembering that goal of how do we get that perpetual revenue coming into the district. But in the course of the discussions we had with the committee, if we can find a suitable buyer, take that revenue, invest it, the interest earned on that amount is going to create that perpetual non-rate revenue for the district. So we think we can achieve those goals easier with less risk, and that's the recommendation. There's other disadvantages to leasing, and we can get into that if you want, but really selling the property from the committee's perspective is really the best option. And this slide reflects the committee's recommendation that you see in the board packet, which is, after many discussions in that meeting, is one, to solicit purchase offers for the property from qualified buyers, and two, if the board doesn't accept those offers, to then pursue the entitlement route. And just for logistics, I just want to explain. So if the board authorizes staff to solicit offers, what our next step is Elizabeth and her staff, with input from general counsel and more than likely our consultants, we would issue an RFP, we would put that out there, we would then collect those offers, review those with the board in closed session because it deals with property negotiation, right? And then if the board were to reject those offers, we would then schedule an ad hoc committee to review the next steps, which per the recommendation you have here is to pursue that entitlement process. And then based on committee feedback, direction and guidance, we would then bring that back to the board, full board, for consideration. So I point that out just to illustrate that there's more touch points here. This is not a one and done kind of a decision from the board. So, and with that, the recommendation you have before you is to solicit offers from buyers, and we can certainly get into any details, and I'm sure the committee members may have some thoughts and comments on this item as well.
Thank you. Thank you for the information. Yeah, well done again. Questions, comments, more information? Yes?
Well, Director BOYD-HODGSON and I had a grand committee meeting here in June, went through all the details that we discussed, and our recommendation was to go out to a qualified RFP, request for proposal. We have had 4 developers come into the committee and give us their viewpoint of what they could do. One of them was rejected outright. The other 3 had good ideas, anywhere from 400 units to, I think, 1,200 was the last one. Monster project. Then we've been going through the SLA part of the thing, and in February we got approved. So at our last board meeting, we had an offer presented to us, which was brought to the board here at our last board meeting, for a substantial amount of money. And however, although it was a nice offer, there just, in my opinion, did not have enough what-ifs in it. So the board rejected that offer, and here we are today. I'm hoping we do agree to put together a qualified RFP, and I would like to ensure that in that RFP that there are a couple of items that are mandatory. The history of the individual presenters and examples of projects that they have done. Who is the project team? I think that's important, at least for me, because there's going to be an architect and an engineer involved to do presentations to the city. And the architect could be Rob Quigley, award-winning architect in San Diego, or Jim Hernandez, local guy that knows architecture.
Also award-winning.
As a matter of fact, yes. However, Rob Quigley is a much more award-winning architect, but knowing who that entity is, I think would be very beneficial to the board. A purchase price based on the number of units suggested, much like the one we had. However, what that proposal did not have, that proposal was for 400 units. But what happens if it's 600 units? I'd like to know what the offer would then increase to. And also, the process along the way, when you purchase a piece of property, there's usually some upfront money that's non-refundable, and steps along the way, how much that is and when that's going to take place. And ultimately, I would anticipate that once the entitlements are completed, then the final payment would be due. But I wanted to make sure that we understood that completely for the board, so that when we see this, we can weigh apples to apples.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in. I just want to caution the board that there's been some discussion in closed session, and we just have to make sure that those topics aren't brought up this evening. So, but yes, to Director Hernandez's point, the RFP would have a selection criteria. Obviously, we would lean on some of our experience in engineering, how we select consultants, but we would get feedback from General Counsel, and they've already provided a sample RFP, so we kind of look at that and see what that looks like, and we would be getting some other input as well to make sure that we hit those marks, which is pretty much industry standard. Yes. So all good points.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
I just had a follow-up question. So you said asking the people who are making an offer to provide their team, you said that's industry standard for a sale like this?
Yeah, we typically ask for who's your project team going to be. You're right, now that I think about it, this is for the purchase of the property, so I'm not sure how much that's going to be a factor. This isn't like, we don't own the project per se, whatever they're going to propose.
Well,
is it
yeah,
600 units, is it 1,000 units,
Right.
But there may be, this would be the negotiation and agreement, payments, all that, and that can all be worked out.
I just want to caution to ask for the project team in an RFP, because I wouldn't want to scare buyers away that don't necessarily have their team in place yet. Maybe that's something that we can talk about later. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. And if it is industry standard, I don't know, maybe that's different. But I feel like the first step buying it, maybe they are not sure who their team is going to be yet.
Sure, and the district has to be careful about directing what's going to actually be the end product. That's, I think, the input that I've gotten from General Counsel is once we start directing, we trigger potentially prevailing wage, there's risk, there's legal issues,
and
so...
and CEQA as well. It pushes forward the need for a CEQA analysis for earlier in the process than might be anticipated.
Yeah, so definitely this RFE process, this is not the core function of the district, right? We have not gone through this, so we will be definitely leaning on legal counsel for advice, and probably our consultant as well. What have they seen? What have they done? What have other public agencies done to protect ourselves?
And then I just wanted to kind of share my comments, my thoughts really on this whole process. So I'm not part of the ad hoc committee, so I just kind of learned about everything in our closed session. And my initial response was, no, why would we want to sell the property? Because we can rent it out and have that perpetual income. But I just want to highlight on the previous slide the estimate of the rental income that we would receive if we did decide to rent the property out. Which is like $1 million on the low end, $4 million on the high end. And if we happen to sell the property for $75 million, we can make more than that in interest on a yearly basis. And so that's kind of what changed my mind. And the way I'm looking at this RFP is, I think that we need to focus as a board on how we can get the best offers, and that's why I'm just a little bit concerned about putting all these constraints on the offer, because really this money is gonna go back to our ratepayers and it's gonna benefit the district. And so that's what I wanna focus on. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anything else?
Sure. One of the things that that I've enjoyed being on the ad hoc committee is Director Hernandez's expertise. And something that I have said all along is that I really want to make sure that we are continuing to provide a source of income for the district. And at first, I was not a proponent of selling. But as Vice President Kirschbaum just eloquently stated, if you look at the math makes sense to not lease it. And so that also convinced me that this is the direction to go. And I support the recommendation to go out for qualified bidders. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Anything to add, Mr. Giddings?
No, your staff did a fabulous job.
Thank you. As always, they're the dream team, so thank you.
I paid him to say that.
They always. So my understanding is there's two motions that do we need to do these separately?
They can be done as one motion, as one recommendation from the ad hoc to the board. It can be one motion.
Okay.
Well-
So, yes?
If we approve one, can we just defer the other one? And
Absolutely.
yeah, okay, great.
So that would be the motion then. We authorize the staff to solicit purchase offers for the property from qualified buyers first.
Yes,
Give that some time. If there's no qualified buyers, then we come back and we do number two.
right.
So that's the motion before the board. I have a motion. Well, I'll motion that. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Director Hernandez. Please vote. And motion passes 5-0. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
And as Mr. Giddings said, great job,
Thank you, great job, everyone.
as always. And with that, that is the end of the action items. We have reports. Assistant General Manager.
Okay. This is the general manager report from the assistant general managers.
And thank you to our friend from Brian Jones's office. I know he called you Mr. Gumpel twice.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a compliment. Okay, I have several items to report on. I am pleased to report, speaking of the general manager, that he has not reached out while he's been on vacation, so I can only assume that he's really enjoying some much needed family time, and we wish him safe travels. He will be returning to the helm on the 11th, though, so. Also wanted to let the board know, if you have not responded, and some of you have, but if you have not responded to the email from Bridget Anderson, who's not here, but our principal human resources analyst, on the Ramona Municipal Water District's 100th anniversary celebration. It is happening on August 22nd. It is a ticketed event, and they are looking for a response by tomorrow. So you can just verbally tell me after the meeting, or you can respond by email. And I know several of you have. Also want to let you know that tomorrow, August 7th, the district is holding its annual Bring Your Kid to Work Day. And as has been discussed here in honor of Director BOYD-HODGSON, this is a great way to expose students to future job possibilities, and it's a great value to the education. So we're happy to host that. I believe Denise Avias has some special things planned for our kids tomorrow, so we're excited to host that. We do that annually. At the next board meeting, you will notice quite a bit of construction going on here at headquarters. So next Monday, our roof replacement contractor, you may recall that project, CIP project, a budgeted project, was awarded by the board in February. They are finally getting ready to begin their first phase of demo. It is a phased project. We expect it to happen 8 to 12 weeks. So it's going to be a bit of a excuse our dust. So that expect to see that when you return here at the next board meeting. And then lastly, I want to let the board know that next week on Thursday, there is going to be a daytime shutdown of some valves at Rock Springs and Bennett. That's to replace 2 non-functioning valves. Typically don't report out on daytime shutdowns, but this is significant. It does affect about 140 accounts, including the Woodland Park Middle School. We need to get this done before school starts, so wanted to give the board a heads up that that's happening next Thursday. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. There's already something been going on there already. I mean, it seems like you've been working on that Bennett and Rock Spring.
Yeah, there's several things that have been going on there.
Gotcha.
Trying to untangle some non-functioning systems, get control of it.
Gotcha. Well, thank you. District Legal Counsel.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
Good
here,
to see
by the way,
you,
Nick.
board members. What's that?
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here. I did want to provide a report, and stop me if Jim has updated you on this one, but on AB 339 is a bill we're tracking in the legislature. It would impact public agencies' ability to contract out for certain services. It would essentially require the governing body of public agencies to give a represented labor group at least 60 days written notice before issuing an RFP, RFQ, or other solicitation for services that are covered by the represented group. And would require a meet and confer process before the agency could go ahead and move forward with that RFP. It is something that CSDA, as well as 40 other agencies or associations have been tracking and opposing because it adds an unnecessary step to the contracting process. At the very least, it would require a lot of agencies to get a very good handle over what is technically within the scope of a represented group and what types of services they might eventually contract out for, or at least build in all of that additional time that might be needed before contracting out for services. Sometimes agencies go out very quickly for something like temporary staffing or things like that that might be within the scope of what's represented by their labor groups. So it would be an additional step that would be built into those types of processes if it does pass the legislature. This was a bill that was started last year and made its way a certain way through the legislative process, was revived again this year, and it looks like it's continuing and it might make it through. So we'll continue to track it and provide updates, of course, if it passes and is signed by the governor. But I did want to note that one. It's an important one that CSDA is keeping an eye on.
Perfect. Thank you for noting that. San Diego County Water Authority, did you have your meeting?
Yes, we did, and I'm going to just, this bill that our district legal counsel was just talking about, it deals with the notification of labor groups to be able to become aware of things that are happening that they might have an interest in. And quite a lot of the time at the Water Authority meeting, the last meeting, was spent talking about a particular contract that I think is listed in the summary report that I'll talk about in a minute. But there was a lot of discussion about local labor groups not having, not being able to have, they didn't have what they thought was an appropriate amount of time to weigh in on whether or not they wanted to bid. So we spent a whole lot of time debating and voting on moving forward with one particular contract, including whether or not it would include a project labor agreement. So that took hours of the meeting. In the end, no action was taken, which meant that the project moved forward, including a project labor agreement. But it required several votes. Looking at this statement. The board awarded a contract for Cascade Consultants in the amount of $340,000 and change for a pipe relining project in Oceanside. And then a follow-on to that was accepted the pipeline relining of the San Luis Rey Canyon project. Excuse me, let's see. I don't want to get into the weeds of all of these. The board rejected the bid presented to the San Luis Rey Wetland Habitat Restoration Phases 1 and 2 project. The board awarded design professional services contracts with a company called Kleinfelder Inc. and Simpson Gum Pertz in the amount of $1.4 million to provide structural engineering services. And I actually don't see what I was talking about earlier about that particular vote. Let me just double check it. That really took up most of the time that we spent. The board authorized the general manager to enter into the compensation agreement with the city of San Diego and accept proceeds from real property sale amounting to $3,000 and change. And let's see, another agreement for the general manager, compensation agreement with the city of San Diego to accept proceeds from another real property sale amounting to $5,700 and change, and just a couple of other action items dealing with legal services. Yeah, weirdly, it's actually not listed in here that I can recall, but we spent a lot of time talking about project labor agreements and, whether or not it was fair, whether or not there was enough time for labor unions to weigh in on whether or not they wanted to go out to bid for a particular project.
Thank you. And your next meeting?
That was my last meeting.
I know, so do you know when the next meeting is, though?
So it's always the fourth Thursday of the month.
So we might just
So-
have, for representation, I don't know, do we have an alternate on there? Just.
There's no alternate. I'm just going to tell you when it is. So it would be the August 28th.
August 28th. And you're calling it quits here August 12th.
Calling it quits.
That's one way to put it. You're gracefully moving north on
No,
August.
I'm bowing out.
Yes, there we go.
I'm bowing out.
So I don't know, just so we know there's some representation, maybe we can have director, I don't know how we work that, but it'd be nice to have some representation there.
Yep.
So note that, just so we make sure.
General Manager and I have had some discussions,
Okay.
and I believe there's a plan, but I can't recall.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, and thank you for your work on that board. I know that's a sacrifice. Those are long meetings, so thank you.
So, it's so interesting, and, many of you know this was not in my plan. This was, I wish that I could have stayed longer, both here on this board and on that board, because it's so interesting, it's so fascinating, the learning curve is so steep, and I feel like I learned a whole lot, but, man, the politics of that board, it's really something. It is really something.
Interesting, thank you. Encina Wastewater.
We have not had a meeting yet this month, one later on this month.
Right, thank you. Standing committees? Besides, I know we had that.
None?
None, nobody, across the board. Directors' reports on meetings, conferences, seminars.
Didn't we had a P3 committee meeting, right?
Did we have a P3 committee?
A couple weeks ago.
We did.
Yes.
what
Remind
did
me,
we discuss?
remind me what we talked about. I apologize.
That's,
I believe we were talking about, was 218 notice?
We did.
Was that discussed?
Okay, yes, that was a really excellent presentation on the 218 process. So what do we have to share with the rest of the board about that? So the notices go out to the public pretty soon, right? For the rate changes?
Yeah, they'll be going out, I want to
weeks.
say in a week or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the public has a certain amount of time to respond, but we have to get like 51% of our connections to actually write in. They have to write an actual letter in if they have opposition to the change in rates. And then we have our, later in the year, we have our public hearing when we actually adopt the rates.
It'll be scheduled in October.
Okay, so did I get that right?
Yeah.
It's a little unprepared, I forgot.
I know, likewise.
And I apologize, we did have an engineering committee meeting that I completely forgot about, so I have to.
What, you did that too?
Yes, so now I can't give you a
Come
hard
on,
time
Director
because
Kirschbaum, you can't. It's contagious.
Director
Sorry.
Ella Tharp diligently came to the meeting, and then General Manager Gumpel texted me, I was at work in Encinitas, and said, when are you gonna be here? And I said, what? So, I apologize for that.
I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
That's an odd feeling, I don't know.
You know what might be helpful is, whomever takes the place of doing the calendaring and the scheduling to send a calendar
Right.
invite for those meetings. That would be really helpful because I too have forgotten about meetings. And,
Right.
just because we're all busy and, sending a calendar invite, I think would be just a really easy thing for all of y'all to get. And then,
Great point, thank
Yeah.
you.
Great point, and you guys are making me feel really good, because I
Yes.
thought I was the only one.
See, now I can't hold that over your
Yeah,
head
you can't
anymore,
give me a
so,
hard time.
yeah.
Thank you. Any other standing committees? No. Other business, director's comments on or future agenda items? Yes.
We did conferences.
Yes.
CSDA had a conference, two very incredibly important sessions that I attended. One was workforce, talked about what they're doing at Palomar College, what they're doing at some of the other districts. We were mentioned here for the work we're doing, all leading to trying to get our name out there to high school and college students to see if we can't funnel them into our industry. So that was very helpful. And then the other one was AI. Of course, everybody's talking about AI and what possibilities there are for the water and wastewater industry to embrace AI. And it's pretty early for anything big, but it's coming and we should be prepared for it. My report.
Thank you so much. Any other reports? Yes.
So I went to CASA last week, California Association of Sanitation Agencies, and that was the second CASA conference that I attended. There is, speaking of, I think the theme tonight is empowering the youth and educating youth to get involved in our industry. They have actually started a scholarship program through CASA. I think it's a couple, 3 years old. But they awarded the scholarships to the students while we were there. One of the students is going to Caltech in the fall, and so she actually came to the conference and she spoke and she accepted her award. But this scholarship program, they're asking for individual donations from agencies, and so I would like to maybe talk at a future board meeting about possibly supporting the scholarship fund. And some of the other agencies just donated, not a lot, like a couple $1,000s, but I thought it's a way that we can continue to support young people and encouraging young people to get involved in our industry. So that was a great, inspiring presentation. And then I also just wanted to give a plug for CASA in general. We, as an agency, we have a lot of dues that we pay to associations, but I actually attended a legislative committee meeting when I was there, and it was an hour long, but they talked about so many bills that they're tracking through the Senate and the Assembly, and the bill AB 339 was mentioned. So CASA has an entire lobbying arm. I mean, these people, their full-time job employed by CASA is they're on the floor in Sacramento every day. They're talking to legislators. They're advocating for what's best for our industry. I'm not going to bore you with all of that, every single bill that they went through, but I did want to talk about one just so that we can kind of see the work how valuable the work is that they're doing. It's SB 445, and this bill has good intentions because it's wanting to streamline transportation projects like high-speed rail, buses, and things like that. But there's language in the bill that says that public agencies need to just kind of get out of the way, right? If there's a project coming through, that they kind of have the rights to do whatever they want. So CASA is pushing back really hard on that. And I'm proud that we're part of this organization as a district because there's power in numbers when it comes to advocating for our ratepayers and our customers, and really glad we're part of the association, and it was a good conference, so that's it.
Thank you. Any other comments, items?
Future comments. 2 notes. One, the process with which we are going to fill the vacancy. I'd like to bring that up at our next board meeting so we can start that ball rolling. And also a replacement for San Diego Water Authority. How are we going to do that? I know you say you got something working, but
I believe,
I'd like to know where we're going with that.
Well, I think she is irreplaceable.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. I'll second both of those items, and I'll also second Vice President Kirschbaum's, when you were talking, you said,
Yeah, supporting the CASA scholarship.
Yes, I'll second that too,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Thank you. And if there is no other items, I know we had a lot of fuss, but thank you, truly thank you for all you've done. Much appreciated. If there's nothing else, we are adjourned.